Hey guys, how's it going? I'm glad you stopped by. As always, it's Wednesday, thought we'd do some dinner. I should say, not as always, but most of the time we do dinner. Sometimes we do some other things, right? But most of the time it's dinner. But anyhow, I'm so glad you did stop by. As always, you know, you guys stopping by for visits and having dinner and cooking with me is always awesome. And tonight will be no different. So this evening, we are going to do a sausage pasta stew, and I don't know exactly how stewy it'll be, but it is one of our handy dandy, really cool, in case you've never seen them before, handwritten recipes by somebody that I don't know, in a box that we're not even sure where the 3 boxes came from. It's kind of like the beginnings of a horror story. Found 3 boxes, found these magic cards inside, and they've given us recipes that have been pretty good but very dated, and that's awesome. You know, I absolutely love dated recipes. That's right up my taste bud level, so to speak. But anyhow, it is a sausage pasta stew, and it's got tiny sausage. It's got everything you expect out of an Italian dish: tomatoes, pasta, sausage, spices, garlic, green peppers. It's all right here. You'll see. But and it's not going to be hard to make. Not at all. This is one of those quick, easy, fairly easy weeknight meals that you should have done in about 35 minutes, realistically. But anyhow, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. If you're returning or one of our new subscribers, thank you very much and welcome back. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comments. Always welcome. Absolutely love comments, and I try my best to respond to all of them in some form or fashion, usually with a comment back or at the start of a conversation. All I ask is that you be kind. It's okay to disagree with me or anybody else in the comments for that matter. Just think before you type and be kind. You know, that is kind of what our neighborhood here is about, is communication, being kind to each other, and around food, all aspects of food. So we get along very well for being almost 4,000 people, and that's awesome. But anyhow, I will give you your measurements in tablespoons, teaspoons, cups, along with grams and milliliters where it applies, so everybody can play along, right? I mean, not all of us use cups, tablespoons, teaspoons. Not all of us use grams and milliliters. Although I will say, growing up with cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, I find grams and milliliters easier, hands down. But anyhow, let's head on down here to the counter and we will get started right away. Hold on for me 1 second. All right, we are down here at the stove, and things we will need for this. We will simply just need okay, so this recipe calls for a Dutch oven or a 5 to 6 quart pot. I no longer have a 5 to 6 quart pot because it was my Dutch oven, and the ceramic on it just bit the dust. It was cheaply made. We've had it for years, and I am not going to go have a new finish put on it. So I just donated it to the garage, where it'll become a handy dandy plant stand at some point. And until I get a new one, I'm using my chicken fryer, which is a 5 quart pot. I mean, essentially it's a pan, but it's a pot, and it'll serve for this purpose. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and get it warmed up, which I've done. Using cast iron, you always want to start out on a lower heat and move it up, especially if you use a gas appliance oven top, because of that hole in the center. If you try to heat your pan up too quickly, it'll actually dip the center, which causes a wobble, or a spinner, as it's known in the cast iron world. I actually own a couple here from people who have done that, but you'll never know it until you go to put it on a flat surface. So I've got mine warmed up. Right, I have no oil in here or anything, but the things we're going to add to this are going to be 2 pounds of Italian sausage. And if you're using the links, go ahead and take them out of the casing so they look like, you know, just regular old sausage. And we're going to go ahead and get this in here. Get our 2 pounds worth in there. And then to that, I am going to add 3 medium-sized peppers, about 2 to 3/4 cups, or about 400 grams worth of, I'm using green and red peppers. If you have a yellow pepper, you want to do 1 of each. Awesome, either way it goes. We're going to throw those in there, and then we are going to put in 1 clove of garlic, about 2 grams, 3 grams worth, and you want to mince that. You know, I use a press. I don't actually mince a thing. Garlic to me it's just so, why the stickiness bothers me, but it is just so sticky. So I just run mine through a press versus chopping it up and getting the stickiness on my hands. So we are gonna now just go ahead and brown up the sausage and get our veggies nice and tender. All right, so we have gotten our green peppers are soft. You know, I can smell our garlic is very robust, but it's not burnt. It's important that you keep stirring this, not consistently, but frequently, since you got all this other stuff in here. I mean, because you're browning your sausage, but that garlic, if it gets to the bottom and just sits there, it can burn, and then it'll make everything in the pot just so bitter, and you don't want that. But our sausage is brown, and as I'm reading the recipe again for the, I don't know, 800th time to see what we gotta do next, I noticed in here that when it tells me to put my sausage and peppers and garlic in here over medium, that it also has the word onion, but there is not an onion in the ingredients list. So I am going to remedy that with some dried minced onion, and I'm going to put a tablespoon's worth in, and we're going to see how that pans out. You know, as far as, I'm going to assume it was like 1 medium onion, maybe 1 small onion, but I don't really want to go and chop up an onion now to and then have this overcook. So I'm just gonna put some dry onion in there, about a tablespoon's worth, and because what we're gonna do now, as soon as I get this big chunk of sausage chopped up that I didn't see coming, is I am going to add some more stuff, right? So we want to go ahead, we're going to add our liquids to this. I don't know why I brought that out in that. Anyhow, all right, so first thing I'm going to add to this is 2 cups, 480 milliliters of chicken broth, which I ended up with 4 cups out here. I think I forgot that I poured some in a thing, but I have another container. It's a pint's worth, 2 cups. And then we are going to add, now here I'm going to vary from this just a little bit. I did not drain my grease off like they mentioned in here. I don't think it's that much grease. You are more than welcome to drain it off though. It also calls for 2 cans of Italian styled stewed tomatoes. I only have 1 can, and we're not huge fans of whole canned tomatoes like that. So I'm only gonna use 1 can of stewed tomatoes. But in place of the 2nd can, and these are 14.5 ounce, 411 grams. That seems to be a popular combo of tomatoes. I am going to use my 16 ounce, 2 cup, 240 ounce or 40 grams worth of tomato sauce that is fresh basil. It has basil, garlic, and onion already infused into it. This is amazing stuff, and since I have a few jars left, why not? I think it's going to be delightful. So we'll go ahead and get that mixed in there real quick. Yeah, and then as I stir this, you can feel free to chop up your tomatoes. You don't have to. I mean, I know they're whole stewed tomatoes, and that just, at least in my mind, I don't need a whole tomato in my mouth like that at once. So as I stir it over the next cooking period, I will go through, and these will break up naturally also. But let's go ahead and add a few more things to it now that we got that all stirred in there. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon, 15 grams worth of granulated sugar, and that's just plain old regular granulated sugar. And then and these are going to be an estimated guess on the grams, only because they're so light I don't have a weight on them. And that is 1 teaspoon of dried crushed basil, and then 1 teaspoon of oregano. I know I say a half a gram each based on the fact that when I had them on the scale, I had both bowls on there. I didn't get anything when I put the basil in, but then when I put the oregano in, it showed up to be a gram. So I'm going to guess a half a gram each. So we're going to get those in there. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat up a little bit on this, give this a stir. I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then once it gets to a boil, I'm going to turn it down to a simmer and put a lid on it and I'm gonna let it go for about 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so real quick, I forgot an ingredient. And this is one of my favorite ingredients, and that's Worcestershire sauce. And I have 1 tablespoon's worth, 15 milliliters. I'm gonna get that in there. Now I'm going to bring it up to a boil, down to a simmer, and let it go for about 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so here's where we do a little role play, because I guess I don't know how to click a mouse. As I'm sitting here stirring this, right? We're stirring, and I look up and I'm reading the ingredients list and the directions, and then I look right here and I see 6 cups of water. I don't think anything of it. It's been sitting there for a minute, except for then I remembered after we're done simmering, I have to add that 6 cups of water to said pot, chicken fryer. Well, the problem with that was being that my food, as you saw, I'm sure, was already up about as high as anybody would want it to go in the pan. So I went ahead and switched it over into this pot, and I added my 6 cups of water and was about to add pasta when I realized that the numbers up there on my camera were not moving, which means that I was not recording anything. This is my luck as of, I don't know, since 2022 or something like that. I've had the weirdest luck about the dumbest things. So I got my water in here so far and changed pots out. So you will definitely need at least a 6-quart pot. I don't know why she wrote 5 to 6 on there, because I mean this pot here is, you know, 5, so you're gonna need 6. So I would get a small stock pot at any rate, definitely a Dutch oven, if not a little bigger. But anyhow, so we're gonna pretend that we just put our water in there, right? So we just put our water in, and now we're good. But I'm here to tell you, all the same, now that we're caught up, right? So we got our water in. This smells amazing. The smells are absolutely delightful, and if that's any indication of how this is going to taste, we are going to be in the money, so to speak. So the last thing we have to add to this is our pasta, and pasta was kind of an option. The different types of pasta was kind of an option. So you could use rotini pasta, which is what I'm using, spiral pasta, as most people know it here in the U.S. You can use bow tie pasta. You can use, she had one other pasta on here that you could potentially use, gemelli, Gemelli. Sure. I really don't know what that one is. I'm sure I do know, but I don't. Or I just can't read her cursive. But anyhow, you want a pasta that will not soak up the sauce, but hold the sauce. See how, I mean, I'm sure you guys know already, but see how it's curved and kind of goes in like spiral, like a saw blade or a drill bit. That's to do the exact same thing a drill bit would do. It's going to scoop up that sauce and hold it in there when you go to eat it. And that way you get a good balance of sauce and noodle. So I've got 2 cups. Oh gosh, I don't remember the weight now. It'll be down there. If you are new to my channel, I know I sound like a babbling idiot, but all your measurements, weights, cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, grams, milliliters will be down in the recipe in the description, and it will be accurate. That I promise. So we're gonna go ahead and get our 2 cups worth of rotini noodles in there and give them a good stir in. And then we're gonna let this let this simmer for about another 5-10 minutes just so those noodles are soft. All right, so we gone ahead and we got that cooked now about 10 minutes, and it looks just, kitchen smells fabulous. That looks amazing. In the pot right here, I've got some apple butter. The last time I made apple butter, I tried to go for quantity versus, I don't want to say quality because it's not bad, it tastes great, but it was a little thin. So now as we run out of a jar, I'll go downstairs, grab 2 jars, and I just simply combine them in a pot, put them on the stovetop, and let them cook down, and then I'll put it back in the jar and I'll stick it in the fridge, and that way we can eat it. But I don't do it quickly. I just kind of let it do its thing all day. But this, like I said, smells wonderful, looks really good. Maybe not horribly healthy, but all the same, it's okay. Things you could serve this with, we're just gonna do soup on its own terms with an Italian bread. But you could have a salad with this, you know, for sure. But I don't know what else you would have. I mean, this would be a good maybe starter soup in small amounts to a nice Italian dish, but I think this should just be kind of served on its own with some Italian bread. And there we are. I mean, that looks delicious, piping hot, but delicious. And so now all we have to do is give it a taste. Now, even though it looks like it is blazing, I literally took it off of the stovetop 10 minutes ago, and it's still just that hot. But that's all right. We're gonna try it all the same. I'll blow on it first, like, you know, I would do with my kids when they were little. Yep, still hot. It's really good. It's hot as hell, but it's really good. Yeah, I wouldn't change anything on it. And I'm glad that I didn't remove the grease as I'm sitting here thinking about it. It made it look a little greasy on top. Ooh, that's warm, but it tastes so good. It made it look a little oily on top, I'm sure, on camera. Although it doesn't look that bad now, as I'm just sitting here looking at it. But that grease, there wasn't that much there. And I think that adds flavor. Right? I mean, I could be completely wrong with that, and that's just my opinion. But I really think that adds flavor. That's really good. I think you need to give this a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I can't think of, maybe some salt. Maybe, but at the same time, not really. It's good. Give this a try. Please do. Or if you've got something that's similar to this. As I know, I seem to have come across a lot of sausage and pasta dishes, and they're all a little different. It's kind of funny how that works. But I like this one. And I think it's going to be a keeper, and I think you should give it a try. And let me know what you think in the process. I would really be curious. Or if you have a similar recipe, you know, that you would like to tell us about, that would be great. I would for sure like to know about that. And you can either leave it down in the comments or find us on Facebook. Either way it goes. So tomorrow for dessert, I really don't know. Have no clue. But I'm sure I will think about it tonight before I go to bed. It'll hit me or first thing in the morning. But until then, I am going to go ahead and get this soup over to the table so we can have some supper and enjoy each other's company. So till tomorrow for dessert, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and you love them very much. They may need to hear it. The way the world is today, they probably really do need to hear it. And even if they don't, it's going to make them smile and feel good either way it goes. It's going to make you smile and feel good to tell them. And if you make them some of this sausage and pasta soup, Italian sausage and pasta soup, I guarantee you're going to have a friend. Probably be able to share, you know, a nice glass of tea with this, or a soda, or a bottle of wine, and have a good evening of conversation, right? There's enough there for leftovers, neighbors, mailman, guy walking down the street. But till tomorrow, I love you, and I will see you then. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.